as well. So, John,
Great.
take it away.
Thank you. Thanks everybody for your attention. My name is John Schmitz, and I'm here based in Houston. And what you're going to hear today over the next 1 hour is a bit of an update of HP's insight management strategy and that vision. We're going to provide a quick update and quick overview of what that means, as well as provide some simple and straightforward product demonstrations on some selected features of Insight. Now, many of you, if you've heard of Insight, great. If you haven't, Insight Management is HP's intellectual property that we use to help do server administration, server management, infrastructure management for the HP server infrastructure. And so when you think of Insight Management, there's really 3 areas or 3 stacks within the Insight suite we're going to talk about today. One is Insight Foundation. It's basically what comes standard with our server infrastructure today. And we're going to have a demonstration of a product called ILO. Doug Hascall, one of our engineering leads, is going to take us through an integrated lights out demonstration, which is a key piece of Insight Foundation. The next step above that is Insight Control. This is value-added software that we ship and deliver and sell licenses with most of our ProLine and Blade System products today. And Insight Control delivers a number of features and functions from server deployment to power management, and we're going to offer a demonstration of that product today. Ron Neland is going to cover how we integrate Insight Control into a virtualized environment, specifically a VMware environment. And Ron's going to take us through the demonstration of how that works. And then third and finally, you've probably heard today our matrix operating environment. The matrix operating environment is the advanced stack of Insight Management and how we integrate that into our Blade System matrix infrastructure. Perhaps you've seen that already as part of your tour and seen that closely. And Nigel in the back of the room, Nigel Cook, is going to take us through a bit of an update on the matrix operating environment. So we got 3 good, during this hour we'll have 3 good product demonstrations. I hope you get a lot out of that. I did provide a handout today that talks specifically about Insight Control and that value proposition. All this is available up on our website today, and feel free, this is a very interactive session. If you have questions specifically, you can ask Uta, who's my counterpart on the matrix operating environment, or myself in the Insight Control and Insight Foundation environment. Any questions before we get started until we jump into some product demos? If not, then I'm going to turn it over to Doug Hascall, engineering lead for the ILO product, and we'll cover some of the Insight Foundation pieces.
Okay, thanks, John.
Doug.
My name is Doug Hascall, and I am the firmware engineering manager for our integrated lights out products. I read some of your work today, and it would appear that Cowboy Stadium was a big hit. Is it correct? So a lot of updates on that. You guys were apparently like that quite a lot. So the product that I work on, integrated lights out, or ILO for short, I'll probably fall into a habit of saying ILO, little I, big L, big O, is, in my opinion, one of the, it's a great place to work. It's a really exciting technology that my team works on. And I think that it is really one of the things that I like best about here at HP is working on the ILO technology. It's exciting, I work with good folks, and it solves very real problems for our customers, and it is one of the most exciting technologies I've worked on here in my career at Compaq and HP. For those of you who don't know, ILO is a system on a chip. It is the management engine that's inside of the server. And so in both the ProLine servers and also our Integrity titanium-based servers, there is an ILO chip that handles both management and remote management. And one of the reasons why I think that the ILO solution is really solid in the industry is that it is something that HP makes from the bottom all the way to the top. The ASIC itself is custom engineered by HP. It has HP intellectual property built into the chip. My team does the firmware for the ILO product, and then we also have HP folks that work on the BIOS that ILO interacts with. We have HP people that write the drivers, and then the application stack, which is what Ron and Nigel and a number of other folks and other products work on. So HP is involved from soup to nuts on our management stack, and my piece is ILO, which is down near the very bottom of it. So ILO has a web user interface, it has a CLI, command line interface, and it has a powerful XML scripting engine. And what we're going to look at today, and this is our ILO 3 product, we're going to look and use the web user interface first of all. So I'll get logged in, and so ILO has a web server built into it. It's a system on chip, it's secure, has high security, and it's a easy to use web user interface. And as part of the server management technology, because ILO really serves two functions. It's for server management and it's also for remote management. And so from a server management perspective, ILO is monitoring all the temperature sensors, fans, power supplies, the health of the system. One of the technologies that we introduced in our Generation 6 ProLiant servers is this sea of sensors technologies, where previously we would have only a handful of sensors and fans that were all clumped together. Now, starting with Generation 6, our servers have up to 30 individual temperature sensors inside the server, in CPU temperatures, memory temperatures, hard drive temperatures, ambient inlet temperatures. So with better data comes better decisions. So we're able to run the fans at a slower speed, which saves power. Our Generation 6 ProLiants and Generation 7 ProLiants all about power efficiency, power management. And ILO, as a standard component of the server, is handling this. And it's not just doing dumb fan curves. It's using process control algorithms to incorporate all of these fan sensors, all these temperature sensors, into individual fan zone control. Because every watt of power that we save our customers saves them on average $7 per year. And so saving power equals saving money, and ILO, with the intelligence of its CPU, helps do that. Another area, I mentioned power, ILO is also involved in the power management of the server. And so you can see integrated into the ILO web user interface is a built-in power meter. And so we have both a 20-minute graph, which is sampling every 10 seconds, and then this is a 24-hour power history that shows the peak power, the average power consumption, and also we have the concept of a power cap. So you see ILO is the intelligence that is controlling this power cap, if it hasn't been mentioned earlier in your other demos, is fast enough to control the power consumed by the server at a sub-second level, fast enough to protect your circuit breakers. It's not just a budgetary thing, it's actually fast enough to prevent electrical blackouts. And the black line represents the power cap that's built into this server. So ILO is involved not only in the management of the server, but also the remote management of the server, which is really the feature that kind of made the franchise a decade ago, is the concept of hardware-based graphical remote console. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to launch our integrated remote console, and this is running completely with software and firmware and the ASIC itself on the server, and there is not any software running on the server to make this happen. We'll minimize that and come back to it later. So this is the actual console of the server that's up in my lab, and so we have the full graphical user interface, and the beauty of this is the same technology can be used whether I'm just down the hall from my servers or across the city. Maybe I don't want to get up at night if I'm an administrator and drive in to take care of a server issue. If I'm on call, I can deal with it from my house over the VPN, or whether I'm around the country. We have quality teams that are based in India that connect up to our servers here in Houston to do ILO QA, and so from around the world they can reach out and interact with that server as if they were in the same room with it. The design principle for ILO is virtually anything that I can do standing in front of the server, short of pulling hardware out, I want to be able to do remotely anywhere in the world. So here I have the console of the server, and whatever I want to do with this server I can. I browse around, install software. And you'll notice with my system tray here, I don't have any of my system NICs even connected to this server. So the only network connection to this server is the ILO network connection. And ILO is working from as soon as you plug the power cord in and the network cord in, you have a manageable server, you're on the network, and whether it's before the operating system's installed, or you're troubleshooting a problem, if your network's down, you can always get into your server via your integrated lights out. And this rich, colorful UI is the exact same thing as going on the server. So we don't expect that customers will actually run video on their servers when they go to manage them. But the point of this demonstration is I'm running this full speed, full motion video over my integrated remote console link without any software running on the server. This is all happening underneath the operating system, and it's high speed. And with our ILO 3, we have 800% faster integrated remote console video than we do with our ILO 2 product, which is on the previous generation servers. And also, another feature I'm going to talk about is our virtual media, which is 3.5 times faster on ILO 3 than it was on ILO 2. So again, we don't actually expect customers to play videos on their server. The point I'm showing you is just the amount of performance that we get out of our integrated lights out through our own intellectual property that's built into the server. So I mentioned virtual media. In addition to having the keyboard, video, and mouse of the server available to me remotely, I can also have, I can mount the physical media of this laptop to the server, whether it's a CD, a DVD, a floppy, a USB key. I can mount a folder off of this hard drive and have it show up on my server as if it was a USB key. I can also mount ISO images off of the network and have it show up on this server. So if I'm looking to work with my server and I don't want to, well, I need to put a CD in, I need to install Windows 2008 or something like that, I can do it from my desk. If I have a patch I need to get installed and my network's down, I can bring that over via USB key. And there's some really cool technology to help our customers deal with their servers remotely and with high performance. Another thing I can do is our ILO 3 servers come with a built-in digital video recorder. It's the only server with a DVR built into it. And so I can record and play back sessions. So here I have something I saved earlier, and you can see I'm going to be doing some very important work here as I play this video that I saved earlier. It's going to load up, and you'll notice that it's, I got to do my Sudoku application here. And so you can see I can solve this thing like this using my ILO technology. So see, just like that, using ILO technology, I've completely solved this Sudoku puzzle. And you'll notice that it is temporally accurate, and it was showing what time the video was taken, and then here it shows playback complete. So that way people know that this is a recording that's been completed and not the live video of their server. And then I'll end it just by clicking another button. So normally, I would talk for a lot longer about ILO, but we have a number of things we want to get through. I think that the ILO technology is, I mentioned to you earlier, a very powerful technology, and I guess I would say that, in my opinion, really, every innovation in the remote management space, in the industry standard servers, in the area of remote management, this ILO type technology, has come out of HP, and that's something that we will continue to push forward on. And I think as we move forward, generation to generation, you'll see even more cool technology built into our integrated lights out product. So, quick overview. Hope you enjoyed it. Thank you for taking an interest in HP, and thank you very much for letting me talk to you a little bit about ILO. And Ron, you're next.
Thank you, Doug. Appreciate it. I'm Ron Neland, and my role at HP, I'm the engineering manager responsible for our VMware engineering. And what that means is I'm responsible for delivering VMware support for our ProLiant servers, as well as any options, and then ensuring that we are well managed in a VMware environment and that we provide the tools that a VMware administrator would need. And we build right on top of what Doug just demonstrated. So we do everything from drivers to Insight management agents, Insight common information model providers, as well as a tool called Insight Control for vCenter. And what we're about, that's what we're going to focus on. That tool is about giving the VMware administrator, the person responsible for the virtualization environment, all the information he needs to make good decisions about his virtualized environment. Just as Doug talked about a minute ago about getting the administrator the data they need to make informed decisions, we're doing the same thing in the VMware space, and actually getting a lot of the data from ILO and presenting that to the customer or to the administrator so that he can decide, I may need to start migrating virtual machines off of one server and onto another while I take care of a problem. Those are the kind of things that we want to provide the administrator. So what I'm going to do is do a quick demonstration. If you are familiar with VMware, vCenter is the tool that 99.99%, and that, just like all other stats, is made up. It's the tool that is used by the predominant VMware administrators, because to get the full flavor and value out of VMware, you need this tool. So what we're trying to do is ensure that when a customer is running a ProLiant server in a VMware environment, that they can get all the information right in front of them that they need to make intelligent decisions. And so what we've done is we've created this plugin in the VMware terminology that brings HP Insight Control data and goodness and value inside vCenter to make it very easy for that administrator. So I'm going to demonstrate a few of the important capabilities here. First one, inside vCenter, things are organized by starting with a data center and then by a cluster and finally on down to the individual host. And HP has built on top of this paradigm. And so I'm going to click on a physical host, and this is all within vCenter. And what you're going to see is normal things that you would normally see, a summary for that host, the virtual machines that are running on that host. But if you go to the far right, you're going to see something that is not there when you first install vCenter. By clicking on that tab, it's the HP Insight Software tab, I'm going to get at first a summary of the health of the server, and then the ability to drill down further on all the details about the server, as well as the full infrastructure. And these are things that no other server company provides. We give you not just the health of the server, not just the health of one aspect, but a view of the entirety: storage, networking, the server itself, the blade infrastructure if you're running blades, and that's what we're going to be looking at today. We give you a view into the entire picture so that everything you need is there, not just one little piece. So right now I'm starting at the top, and I get a summary of, okay, here's my server health. ILO views it as good. We've got onboard administrator, which is the management processor inside each of our enclosures. Again, HP is focused heavily on ensuring that our entire infrastructure is well managed, and we bring all of that goodness into vCenter. Then I've got the health status as reported by Insight Manager, and I can see quickly that I've got an issue here. And the way I might go about diagnosing this issue is if I click on the server tab, I'm going to get more information. This information, in this case, came from HP's common information model providers. HP tries wherever possible to utilize industry standards. Common information model and that providers are industry standard, and we adopt those. We fill in information as it fits, and where needed we extend it to provide additional details so that our customers get everything they need. Well, what I can tell here is that I have got a problem in my network area, and I could easily go drill down further to go resolve that and identify what it is. Now, you might ask, well, how did you get here in the first place? One of the things HP has done is we've integrated our alerts or events that our servers or ILO or our onboard administrator generate, and they actually show up in the alarm tab as part of vCenter. So if I were to come here, I can see that there's a possibility of, hey, I got an alarm from HP SIM. That is quite normal. That would alert me as a VMware administrator that I needed to go do something. Well, what's the goodness of having it here? Well, as a VMware administrator, I've set things up so that, hey, If something's going wrong in my virtualization environment, I want to see it in vCenter. I don't want to have to stare at the screen. I instead want to be proactively notified, and we take advantage of that capability. Going back over to the HP Insight tab, I also can see things as they relate to my infrastructure. So for example, I get a good bit of detail about the status of the enclosure. This means I can tell what's going on. Is my enclosure okay? Is the management module okay? Are we good on power and thermals? And if at any point I needed more detailed information, I can click on that and I get the power information about the server. If I needed to go further, I can very easily go into ILO, as Doug was just showing, and I can click on it from within vCenter and bring up an ILO session that will log directly in, and I'm inside ILO. And again, this is ILO just as Doug showed it. I'm in there, and I can quickly get more details on the power, just like Doug was showing a minute ago. So all of this happened from within vCenter with a connection out to ILO. Next, if I wanted to see more details about the enclosure, same kind of capability. I get everything I need to know. My power supplies, I get the health of those. So I'm in this case, a C3000 enclosure. I can see all of the power supplies that are supporting that. I can see all of the fans, as well as the onboard administrator and anything else there that I need to look at. So all of that is covered here. So again, we're trying to get the administrator the data they need. Two final things I want to go through to just show you what we do to enable our customers. One of the things our customers have told us is help us identify when we need to make updates. And so from within vCenter, we're able to provide the customer with a full list of all the firmware that is running on that server. That enables the customer to compare that with the latest firmware and decide, hey, do I need to update or not? Because most customers would rather leave the servers running as much as possible, so we help them make those decisions without downing the server. The last thing I want to show you as we look at this is in the networking space. I told you earlier that we're doing some really great things here. And so one of the things that we've done, and I'm going to manipulate the screen a little bit to get as much real estate as possible, is we've provided a full end-to-end view of the network so that our customers who are running with HP Blades and our Virtual Connect product can see the entirety of their network. But it starts at the virtual machine. So if you look here on the left, this would closely match what you would see if I went over to one of the other tabs in vCenter. I start with the virtual machine and the virtual switches that are inside VMware. And then I go from there to, in this case, the Flex Fabric adapters that HP provides and can see those. Connected on out to the actual virtual Connect module inside the enclosure. And lastly, all the way out to the switches, the edge switches that this product is connected to. So I can see a full picture of my network connectivity. This gives the administrator the ability to see things that normally he would only be able to see if he was a network administrator. So now, as the virtualization administrator, I get the full picture at every step of the way. Along the way, if I choose to hover over any one of the elements, I get details about that piece. So I get details that I couldn't get without going to other tools. Again, minimizing the need to jump around from one console to the other, instead coming right into Virtual Center and seeing that. Lastly, we go, if at any point here I can click on I hover over the individual NICs and I'll get all the details about that. I'll see its MAC address, speed, everything along the way. That should provide the administrator with all the information they need to make intelligent decisions. And they can then go to our other tools like Virtual Connect, Enterprise Manager, to make changes as they need to. All of this is a part of our Insight Control family of products. And so we start with ILO, we add on top our agents and providers, and then go from there to the Insight Control for vCenter, along with the full Insight Control family that gives the customer the full breadth of the tools they need to do everything. So,
Thank you, Ron.
That's great. So we're going to transition right now to the matrix operating environment. Thanks for your time. I'm going to introduce Uta Albert.